behind this skyscraper, and I yell over to Antonio, who's still making his way up the last part of the hill, huffing and puffing, but not cursing his fixed gear, and instead seemingly enjoying the patience it requires. Hey man, I think the moon is coming out. And sure enough, from behind this sole skyscraper, spire of an apartment building, with the Oakland Bridge as its background, out pops the moon. Big and catastrophic, looking practically golden, maybe the biggest yet I've ever seen in this life, and she is drawing all of us closer to get a better sightline. So we go over to the edge of the hill, and step up to the corner where already there's a woman standing there with her phone held in front of her, snapping a couple of photos, and then standing there absorbed in the moon's luminescence, taking up her entire screen. And she's somewhat surprised when we walk up right next to her to do the same thing, as if she lost track of where she was for a minute and forgot she wasn't alone in this city. We pull out our phones too, and we start to take pictures too, leaving our bikes lean against a nearby building. And as we do this, the whole corner begins to fill up with all these other people stopping and even pulling their cars over to get out and stand there looking at this glorious muse of muses glowing above their city. They're all scrambling to get their smartphones out, to get a picture of her, to share with each other later, but there is no later, because as I look around, everyone is joining us, but no one is leaving. And everyone has their hands up in the air, stuck in that pose, pausing to focus their phone's camera, hoping to capture the moon's luminosity. I look around me, and everyone is so gestural, their hands held high and together, aligning their chakras and focusing all their sights on the moon's light. And I think to myself, is this the new moon salutation of the future? Is this the new lunar dance? Is this the new form of howling at the moon? And then it grips me. And I don't have time to answer, because all of a sudden I feel it coming up, like this grunt-like bark, coming from deep down in the stomach, just above the groin, and straightening up my spine as it erupts through my throat and out my now open mouth as a howl! So loud in the top of my lungs, I suddenly become aware that I've shocked everyone out of their trance, and they're all looking at me oddly. A grown man suddenly possessed by the wild and howling up at his mother moon with such desire. I can't stop myself though, even with all these people looking at me and me feeling more than a little embarrassed. But then I hear Antonio's voice somewhere out in the crowd of 100 or more that has taken residence on the top of this hill, and he's joined me too, and he's howling too. And then sure enough, one by one, every single other person goes through the same motions of casting away their self-consciousness, and they all begin barking and almost laughing until they are standing there, all these hundreds and hundreds of complete strangers, transfixed by that glorious wonder above. They're all howling with all their fury and might, like a pack of wolves, calling out the only known name of this grave goddess, and shouting her name so loudly now that even the neighbors who come out on their balconies to yell at us to quiet down can't help but join in. It seems to go on forever, and the moon continues to rise above the bay into the nighttime sky, welcoming our primal chant from the city, and even blushing to herself, but never telling us what utter destruction she has in store for us only a few days from now. Sleeping under her embrace, things are really going to hit the shitter, and we're all going to be questioning what the hell happened. But right now it's a pretty moment, and we all get lost in it, totally falling for her, in love with our conqueror.
Woo!